You're listening to Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and friends. And here's Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and friends. How's everybody doing? July. Here we go. Michael Maher, got you on the line. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well, just enjoying this heat, soaking it up.
Yeah, isn't it funny about living in central Washington? 4 seasons, just kind of like bang, it's cold, bang, it's hot. But I kind of like it. You get this heat, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, then we start to cool off, right? But coming out of COVID has been something else. It's nice to be able to get out and see your friends and family, give each other a hug, high five, play some touch football, do whatever you got to do to not be in the land of COVID. Let's get out of that land.
Right.
And with that being said, in the post land of COVID virus, the lockdown of 2020 and 2021, what in the heck is going on with these forbearances and so on and so forth? Everybody has a different theory. Do you have any idea what's going on?
Yeah, so there's a lot of information out there, and I think the most important thing that people need to realize before we get into any specifics is just reach out to your servicer. Reach out to whoever you're making your payment to and discuss the options, because typically when COVID first started back in 2020, most people were given about a 15-month grace period. And as we were rolling into late mid 2021, those grace periods for forbearance are starting to come to an end. And for those that have gone that entire time without making a payment and don't have a plan in action to either start making those payments, or maybe they need to figure out if they need to sell and regroup. And it's just important to note that as things get back to normal, the vaccine has been rolled out, so on and so forth. The mask mandates are starting to really come into effect as far as being a lot more lenient and not necessarily requiring people to do that. And as these things continue to normalize and people, go back to the way things were, it's just important to note that you have these forbearances and that you're able to make sure you're not exiting them without a plan, because there's really no need in this market, as hot as it is as being a seller's market, to go into foreclosure if that's the case. And I hate to say it, but you're better off selling the home and renting something than having a foreclosure on your record that sticks with you for years to come, versus getting ahead of it, reaching out to one of the agents at Keller Williams North Central, and figuring out what your options are in order to avoid something that stays with you for a long time.
And here's my advice. Don't listen to people that aren't in the business. And even if you're listening to people in the real estate business, don't always take it as gospel. It's good to get a second and a third opinion. I can give you a couple of quick examples, Mike. There was a guy that didn't want to pay a commission in Chelan a few months ago. So he thought he'd save the 6-7%, listed 2 lots himself. An investor bought it off of Craigslist. The next day after he closed on the 2 lots, he hired a realtor in Chelan, made a $100,000 profit in one day. So when you think like I could think I know how to fix a compound fracture of my ankle, but I'd probably be guessing because I'm not a doctor. Sometimes we forget that real estate is a profession that does require some skill sets, especially when you're in a market like this. Another example I found out about not that long ago, a home sold for $850,000 a little over a year ago. Guess what it sold for recently? $1.8 million. Went up $1 million in 1 year. Now, they did some upgrades, but nothing extravagant. So my point is this, to your point, when you're in a situation, get some professional help. Call one of our agents from Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington, and let us help you navigate these waters a little bit, because we can work together, whether it's through Michael and a refinance, or whether we need to sell your home and, like you said, get out from underneath that forbearance problem and start over. That's better than getting a foreclosure, correct?
You got it.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, these are unusual situations, and when unusual situations occur, you need to get as much advice as you can. And don't just listen to one banker or one realtor. You always got to do your homework, and don't wait till it's too late where you're now reacting. Get on that right now and call Michael with PrimeLending and get strategic. And so you really understand where your options are.
Exactly. And on that note about getting strategic, I think another thing that a lot of people are having to deal with right now is bidding above and beyond what a home is listed for. And one of the creative ways we do this is through different options and different down payment requirements for different programs. We have programs as little as 0% down if somebody needs that kind of help. But typically we do have some conventional options as low as 3% down. And what that can do is really utilize a strategy to, maybe if someone wants to use an escalation clause or a 22 AD where they're willing to pay a little bit more than potentially the appraised value might be, obviously subject to what the appraisal comes in at. But you can utilize these lower down payment options to possibly bump up a 22 AD and still win and still maintain the necessary down payment needed, but maybe use that bucket of money that you have a little differently and a little more strategically, rather than turning around and putting it all towards a down payment and somebody else comes in and swoops it out from under you because they were able to utilize their bucket of money a little more strategically.
Yeah, and the 22 AD is when you buy down an appraisal. So the market's moving so fast that appraisers aren't keeping up. They're historians, and often when you're appraising monthly, not annually, like this market, you often will bid a home up above what it appraises for because the history hasn't quite caught up yet. And the appraisers for the lenders need to be able to find at least 3 comparable sales that justify the value. Now, buying down the appraisal is simple. If the home sold for $400,000 and it appraised for $390,000, well, somebody's got to make up that $10,000 difference. And so buyers are strategically putting that addendum and saying, hey, if it comes in low, I'll pay up to $10,000 against the appraisal to help them get a better opportunity to get a deal mutually accepted, because the sellers are frankly worried that they're going to get 30 days down the road and this deal is going to flip because of the appraisal. So that is becoming a strategic move when you have multiple bidding wars happening simultaneously. It's a great point. And how you use the same amount of money matters, whether you're asking sellers to pay closing costs, whether you're using a down payment assistance program, or whether you're holding back some of your cash and going with a lower loan to value on your loan itself. Like, it just needs to be thought about in this crazy market. And that's where we split hairs a little bit in the real estate industry for a reason. And you're getting somebody that really understands that and can work together. I mean, one of the things you guys do at PrimeLending, Michael, you and Sharon both, you're willing to talk to people during the escrow. You're willing to talk to people before they get to mutual acceptance on how to structure their situation. And you're open with communication with the broker. And I find that very refreshing, because it's not always the case.
No, exactly. And we're willing to work with anybody, and no matter what situation they're in, whether they're on the verge of bankruptcy or need some credit help, or they just need to strategize on, they have X number of dollars to use and they need a house and they just need to know how that money is best utilized in their specific situation. So we sit down, it's free. My number, if you want it, it's 425-760-8824. You can call or text me anytime, and I can strategize with you and see where you guys are at if you need help or just need some guidance, no matter what the situation is.
As always, Mike, that's great information. I want to say one more thing about being creative and strategic. When you're looking at 3 or 4 bedroom houses, guess what's happening, especially in that $300,000 to $450,000 price range, which is very low in inventory. Everybody else is looking for 3 and 4 bedroom houses. We talk about it a lot, but I want to make sure people understand what the rehab or enhancement loan can do for you if you add a little creativity. And what I mean by that is, if you go look at 1 or 2 bedroom homes, maybe a 3 bedroom with a 1 bath, and you had it all etched in stone that you have to have 2 bathrooms, so you're only going to look for 3 bedroom, 2 bathrooms. So explain to people what the enhancement loan can do in our last couple minutes here for them, and being creative.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, in layman's terms, it's basically just a loan that allows you to finance in any of the work that you want to be done to the home. So let's just take if you're buying a home for $100,000 and you want to put $10,000 worth of work in, then it allows you to stack that $10,000 into the 100 for a total of 110. And that's your new loan amount, your new purchase price, quote unquote. And what it really allows you to do is get creative as far as doing repairs, updates to the home, adding a second, third, fourth bedroom, updating septic systems without having to fork over all that cash up front. And it allows you to maintain that so you don't have to turn around and, cash out a 401k or whatever it is, and be creative in this market and see what nobody else sees.
Yeah, I mean, come in and buy a house for less money because not that many people are looking at a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, right? Well, you can turn it into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house as long as you qualify for the complete package, the as-is value plus the construction loan. You roll it into one. Bada bing, you got a house that nobody even thought about. And I always say this, if you have the imagination, or who has the imagination will get the equity, right? So if you can see through things and not at them and work with somebody that has some creativity in the real estate game, like Michael and our agents at Keller Williams, you sometimes can actually, even in this market, close on a deal with equity in your pocket. And that's hard to do.
Exactly.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Michael. Another great show. I hope everybody enjoys the sun. Get out there. Hopefully you can take the mask off, stay healthy, have fun, get wet, come up to Lake Chelan. The water's cold. It'll help you cool off. Thanks for tuning in to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends.
It's a bright new day. Just came